While I absolutely love these cinema rig builds, sometimes they can be a little bit big. And I have been reading a whole bunch of comments and saying that people just don't like using these because they're just too big. And I've been trying to find a couple of solutions, and I think I've found something that kind of replaces the back of this and makes it so much smaller, more compact, but still give you a little bit of flexibility. And one of the things that actually sparked me to make this video is that Neewer sent me this 99 watt hour mini VMount battery, and I just wanted to get out there and try and find something that just made all my cinema rigs so much smaller, especially when I do test other camera systems. So before we get into the build, I just want to go through some of the specs of the 99 watt hour VMount battery by Neewer. It's the PS099S. It's a 6800 milliamp hour battery. It has a DTAP adapter on the side. It's got two USB-C ports. One of them you can charge directly in. It's got a 12 volt DC and an 8 volt DC and a USB-A port. Now it is actually smart app controlled, so you can actually connect it via Bluetooth and see what the output is through the app. And it has a really nice digital display on the back, which we'll go through a lot later. It comes with the USB-C to USB-C cord, and it also comes with a DTAP to DTAP adapter. But one of the big accessories that actually comes with it is a foldable V-mount battery plate. This makes everything absolutely compact, and this is the key element to this rig that we will talk about in this video as well. Here, you can see it's literally just a V-mount battery. There's a V-mount battery plate. It's so much smaller, more compact, but still offers you pretty much exactly the same, which I'm so excited to share this one because this is so much lighter and it's just easy to hold. It's not very heavy, and you can just last so much longer when actually recording with this rig. And you can see here I'm literally just holding it in one hand. And essentially when it comes to this V-mount battery, the main things I generally power is the monitor itself and then maybe just the camera. So I only really need one DTAP port and a USB-C port, but for this one I've actually used 12 volt DC power directly into the monitor, and I've got a USB-C to USB-C cord that goes directly into the camera, and that powers the camera. Recently I've just been keeping the battery internal into the camera in case if you're using a dummy battery and the cord unplugs, it will shut the camera off. Whereas if there's an internal battery still in the camera and you're actually supplying power directly into it, you're just going to have so much more reliability, and you can just trickle charge that battery. But that's purely up to you and how you want to power this. And because I still have one USB-C port, one USB-A, an 8 volt DC, and the DTAP port on the side, I've got the opportunity to power a wireless transmission system. I can even power an external focusing motor. There are so many different options here, which is great. So you can see here this screw right here. If you pretty much undo this, what you can actually do is tilt the V-mount battery out of the way, which, you know, the Cinepacks don't actually allow you to do that because the camera is completely locked into the rig. But this just gives you the opportunity to put your monitor back in. You can access a few buttons. You could probably put a fan back there. It just seems like it has a little bit more flexibility than being completely locked in. But if we do go over to the other side, this is where you can actually pull this lever right here and extend the back of the V-mount battery. So you can actually change the lengths of where you want it to sit. So it doesn't have to sit really close to the camera body. It can sit a little bit further out. It really depends on the top handle you've got. It depends on how far the EVF pokes out. And obviously it just depends on the shape of your camera. But actually in saying that, this V-mount battery has a quick release plate that is included within this kit. Now, I'm actually using just my standard cage that has the Arca Swiss mount that obviously slots directly in here. You can actually dismount all of this really quickly because it is a quick release plate, where I guess the Cineback you have to fully demount the thing, and it just takes a lot more time. And the biggest benefit about having this thing is that you don't have to have a very specific cage. The only issue with these kind of rigs is that they fit with very specific cages for your camera system. So if you're someone like me who uses multiple camera systems, you can only use that one camera system with this rig. Whereas this allows you to use multiple camera systems and multiple cages, no cages. That just adds so much more flexibility to your gear because you don't have to keep buying a whole bunch of these. Like I've literally got one for my S5 IIX and also one for my FX30. But I'm going to be using this for absolutely everything and the new cameras that I can be able to test with a cinema rig style. And you can see here with the Lumix S1R2, I've literally got no cage on here. I've got the quick release base plate, and this fits on here absolutely perfect. This is the most streamlined setup here. The monitor fits directly into the hot shoe. There's no top handle, so all I can do is literally hold onto the grip and grip onto the lens, and that's the setup. It's so compact and small. sometimes this is a more, I suppose, beneficial run and gun setup. Now on the right hand side with that pivot thing, you can see there's actually a rubber thing on the back here that sits up against the EVF. So you don't have to worry that it's going to be scratching the EVF. It's nice and rubber. It sits on there perfectly fine. And now I know a lot of people are going to be asking, what about the audio system? What are you going to do there? Well, it's pretty simple. You just use the FX3 or FX30 top handle. Then you actually have professional XLR inputs directly into your camera. And it's pretty much exactly the same setup. It does look a little bit beefier because you do actually have this XLR adapter thing. Otherwise, majority of the time, I'm literally just attaching this directly to the client, hitting record, then I've got 32-bit float internal directly in here. Or you can just clamp the receiver directly onto the rig and then plug it directly into the 3.5mm jack. And then you've got that audio directly in camera, but then you've also got the 32-bit float audio that's on the actual Talent. And obviously, if you are doing a whole bunch of run and gun stuff, then this will actually be the best option because you do have that shotgun mic directly onto the camera. If you don't actually have this XLR top handle, that's perfectly fine. All you need to do is have a shotgun microphone and put it directly onto the camera somehow, like a cold shoe adapter, then just plug it directly into your camera's microphone port. And you can see generally it's just a smaller setup. I can understand what a lot of people are saying where the Cinebacks are just too big, and having something like this is a better option for some people. Like, I like both options, don't get me wrong. I love having really big rigs. That's why I have the FX30. That's why I have the Sony F5, which you guys haven't seen yet. I'll put a video out about that. But having a smaller rig can suit a lot of people. And one of the major benefits that I absolutely love about this compared to those cinema rigs is that you actually have an Arca Swiss plate at the bottom here, but it still sits flush on a bench, so it's not going to tip over, you know, kind of like the other ones would, because you would have a completely flat sort of plain base, which is perfectly fine because you can put whatever plate you want. But then you're going to have to get whatever plate you want, a little Arca Swiss plate, a Manfrotto plate, depending on which one you're going to be using. But this one has that already built in, and it's got 3 mounting points underneath as well, which you can actually utilize. But the great thing about this is you just need to unclip a couple of cords, and then you can literally slide this thing out. And that just shows you the versatility of this mount and how quick you can actually take this off and put your camera directly onto a gimbal or a completely different rig or a tripod. However you want to be shooting, this just gives you a little bit more flexibility than those built-in cinema rigs. So let me know in the comments below what you think of this rig. I really do feel like this is far more optimized. It's a little bit more compact, but it still offers you the flexibility, you know, of powering an external monitor, powering the camera itself, and potentially just powering a couple of other little things like a focus motor or even a wireless transmitter. So really cool, and I'm glad I sort of brought this up because it's been on the back of my mind about having too many massive rigs, because a lot of people just don't like those massive rigs. Perfectly fine. Purely depends on how you want to shoot and what kind of accessories you're using. But thanks for watching. I will put a link, or I will put multiple links in the description below to, you know, showcase everything I've got on here. And hope you enjoyed it. See you guys in the next one. All right, let's get it.